We head back up to the top. Blake Paul versus Torgeir Bergrem. I mean, Blake, of course, like local hero. Jackson's so proud of this kid. And, you know, in our conversations, with his knowledge of this terrain and being riding this type of terrain in his home mountain, may have an advantage. Let's hear what Blake thinks.
I definitely had a lot of nerves last year. I was definitely nervous at the top of the course, and I feel like that's something that if you compete more, you kind of like get used to or you're more aware of. But also it was cool last year because I didn't really know what to expect, so maybe I was just living in the moment a little bit more, where this year we have a lot to compare it to. But I was just excited on the overall experience, hanging with all the invited riders and kind of just being a part of the event and snowboarding in Jackson and cruising around with everybody. That always means a lot, so I'm excited for that again no matter what.
Well, all that nervousness still got him to the semis last year, T-Bird.
And I had a really interesting chat with Blake during a little content grab interview we were doing where he said this zone, before that Teton quad was put in, this was the first place he ever built a backcountry jump. This actual slope was his introduction to backcountry snowboarding here at his home mountain of Jackson Hole. So things have come full circle for Blake Paul as he is on the world stage, starting things off with a huge backflip nose grab, one of the hallmark tricks from Blake Paul. You gotta be kidding me. Front side 360 to the deep end.
Yeah, right here we're seeing a lot of solid landings coming out of Blake, and that's something where we're really seeing how a light touch handles this choppiness.
They don't call him Gordon Lightfoot for no reason. This kid is the real deal. Backside 360 tail grab, holding on. You see how choppy it is, even in the fresh snow. It can take you down.
And it's that deception, right, of that Lightfoot matching powder. You see Blake just being like, where am I?
Did Blake Paul just become the favorite of this event? That was unbelievable.
That was heavy.
That was unreal.
Yeah, top to bottom, that run right there was pretty much as flawless as we've seen all day, and big.
Well, if you ask people about ask some of your favorite snowboarders who their favorite snowboarder is, Torgeir Bergrem is going to be, no doubt, on that list, and we are happy to have him here.
Well,
it's kind of hard to have a mindset coming into this event. It's not like any other event I've ever done. I'm riding with and against my biggest idols growing up snowboarding. So honestly, I'm just here to enjoy and try to ride as good as I can. My main concerns about dropping in is the light being good enough for me to see the obstacles, and also trying to stay on my line and don't miss the features that I'm going to try to hit. If I can do that, I think I should be fine.
Known for letting conditions dictate how he rides, he ain't going to have any problem with light today. Let's not forget also two-time Olympian in slopestyle, 2014, 2018. The pride of Trondheim, Norway is here and on course, Pat.
Well, I would say Torgeir's in that crew alongside Torstein, Sage Kotzberg, the real technical deep bags of tricks.
And he's a very, very powerful rider. This kid can stomp. I mean, he takes the world by storm on social media with tricks like switch inverted back five latent methods. I mean, his approach and his take on snowboarding is incredible. What?
Did you just see him try and save?
That was ridiculous.
He tried to back rodeo out of sliding down backwards.
Well, it's one thing to throw the trick. It's another thing to survive the ride out.
That was amazing.
Cab 5 from Torgeir right there. And again, Salema, like you said during the break, he is approaching this course aggressively. No matter what, there could be a bobble, there could be a fall. He's being aggressive, and that's what the judges want to see.
Holy shit. That
was crazy.
Feels good to get one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so sick. You look so mellow.
Mutual Admiration Festival.
Absolutely. And just looking at the way Blake Paul is carrying himself right now, I'm pretty sure he knows he just laced one. Look at that backflip nose grab. Finding that transition, unlike many other riders alive. This kid is a raw, straight-up talent.
Well, unlike last year where we saw a lot of wildcats and backflips, we're starting to see only a handful of riders going upside down this year.
Backside 360 tail grab right there. As we transition into Torgeir, check this out. Huge method. Hits the second feature out of control and tries to back rodeo out of it. Unbelievable. Maxes that thing out, finds some fresh snow, goes backseat, and welcome to the roller coaster, Torgeir. He almost had it. He needed a little bit more airtime.
I would have taken my headset off and walked out of the booth. You guys would have been on your own if he'd made that.
Unbelievable.
Well, I also think what we're watching right here is like we saw with a Craven and a Danny Davis. Is it going to be the threes, finesse, size versus the technicality?
I will say, with Blake Paul's run, the flow was just unmatched. I mean, the line he chose and stuck to in his run, it was quite frankly beautiful.
It could be the high score of the
Probably
day.
not the best idea. It's all good. Hell yeah. Uno mas.
85.3 for Blake, an excellent score, but Tord still in the mix. That's the second run is going to be exciting from these two. The man to beat right now in his backyard. T-Bird letting us know that the first backcountry jump that Blake Paul ever built was right here in this pitch. And now to be doing this on the world stage at Natural Selection, what a feeling it must be for this kid.
And I mean, this kid's just a threat. His style, his poise, and his knowledge of this zone and this terrain just gives him a really big competitive edge.
Well, he lands in the backcountry as if he's riding a park jump. The lightest touch of his board, and you can see right there, his board's actually reverse camber.
So Blake dropping in for his second run. He is currently holding a pretty commanding lead over Torgeir Bergrem and sticking with a similar top section, backflip nose grab. I heard that little squeak of the bindings. Means he's pulling the nose of his board. Front side 360.
On display, that light touch that Pat mentioned at the top.
Yeah, Blake is a true pleasure to watch ride a snowboard. Scrubbing some speed up and over those two rocks as he's now entering the bottom section of the course. Back 7, and he can't quite hold on in the ride out. He's cutting really hard riders left to hit a jump that not a lot of other riders are hitting to get fresher snow.
I was going to say, the landing looked like 9 o'clock.
Blake, another incredible run. Congrats on that. Take us through that run from your perspective.
Most of all, trying to stay on my feet, trying to clean up my first run. Add a little bit of a bigger trick on the bottom. Snow is hard to slow down in, so it's hard to find little landings that have good snow to slow down and try to avoid those sections of the course, but yeah.
I don't know how you could clean up your first run. Your first run was literally the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So what happened? Just that backside 7, just didn't have enough snap, or what went wrong there?
Yeah, just didn't quite have enough pop, I guess, on that one. Landing came up a little quicker than I thought, but all good. Happy I tried to step it up just a little bit, you know?
Well, congrats. That was a thing of beauty, man. Sending it back to you guys.
There's not an award for it, but clearly the least winded.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me you live here without telling me you live here.
Exactly.
As we head back up to Torgeir Bergrem, who had, I mean, all the elements were there in that first run.
Yeah, from the same town as Torstein Horgmo. You talk about generational influence that a rider like Torstein has. Torgeir Bergrem starting things off with a backside 360. And the landings are starting to look a little bit more like a spring jump landing. The snow's heating up. It's getting a little faster. And these riders are feeling really at home. And that is just, he just jumped into a little bit of carnage right there on Lando's hip.
I just love that somehow or another he thought he'd be able to grab some snow on that hip.
Well, I mean, if you remember in the first run where he tried to redeem himself throwing a cork off of a buck.
Going cab 9, Torgeir Bergrem.
That's the biggest trick of the day.
Hold the phone!
That was sick.
Yo!
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God. Oh. Good job on that last one. Thank you. I felt like I was going so slow. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's break this down because I want to know if we're going to see some free snowboarding in a tiebreaker round. Blake Paul's got a backflip nose grab, front side 360 grabbing melon. That sure was pretty. He caught some really nice snow on that landing too. And then here's the backside 7. He caught the knuckle just a little bit. He's going a little bit too slow. And then contrast it to Torgeir, backside 360. And then coming into Lando's hip with speed. Beautiful method, but he just lands in a little bit of chunder right there.
Yeah, look at the shadows on this landing. That's where it's going to be firmer.
Yeah, he just goes a little back seat there. But this right here, my opinion, trick of the day. Look at that poke right there. Cab 900, stomped.
Well, if this is your last run of natural selection and that's your last hit, that's the way to end it.
That's a good ender.
Yeah, take a bow. The key word there, if.
They say people remember most the last thing you did. That sure was pretty.
So camouflaged down there. I can't really see you. Ah.
0.4 of a point.
Wow.
The closest matchup we've seen so far.
Wow, Blake Paul eliminates Torgeir Bergrem by 0.4 of a point.
I'm not gonna lie, Chad Otterstrom and company. You pushed the wrong buttons. I wanted more snowboarding.